difficulties. So the hell with the other computer. We're just going to be using the iPhone today, going true. I hope you can hear me as well. And I hope you can see me. The whole idea of an extended chord is to spice up your triads, which means if you have been playing guitar for more than 6 months or a year and you find yourself being bored with G major, A minor, these are going to be chords that will spice up your triads. Now, don't have my board so I could write nonsense out so you can visualize it, but I do have my fingers. So if you're on this chat and you want to see something, make sure you tell me what instrument you're playing and ask questions about it. Otherwise, I'm just going to be playing on the old git fiddle. Why? I enjoy it. Enough. So with the guitar, what I like to do is go over scales, how to practice, when to practice, why to practice. Everybody does it differently. I, as an instructor, teach 2 different concepts which will take your playing to a different level. Like everybody says, you don't need to buy a book. All you need to do is tune in on Monday and Tuesday and ask questions. First idea is called a spider exercise. That's what I call them. I learned it from another person. Long story short, first finger, first fret, second finger, second fret, third finger, third fret, fourth finger, fourth fret. When doing this, do all downward strokes. What this does, it gives you an appreciation for doing a downward stroke and finding the 6th string, the 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string. When you go through your E, A, D, G, B, and E, you will find playing through single half steps gives you the ability to actually start hearing half steps in your playing. So you really only process what you do in practicing at a fundamental level to understand concepts, and then you apply those towards your instrument or your voice. Now here's the crux or the caveat. You gotta go slow, and most importantly, if you're beginning, you hear that? That's called a metronome. It keeps tempo or rhythm or meter. When we define how to go, we are taking the time to internalize each note where the finger sits. Yeah, you could go a little faster, or you could internalize some of the other notes like we do for speed. After that, you practice each one of these concepts I'm about to show with a given key. Now, in the key of C major, there are no sharps and no flats. So when we say C major, it establishes all 7 tones that are in the musical alphabet. Can be described as having a C, an open D, an E, an F, G, A, B, and a C. And all of these notes, Sodaru! What's up, Nar? Nar. Did I just get a British no? Nar. So when we play C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, that is a scale preference. That started with my 3rd finger. When we move up and put our secondary finger there, we are omitting the 1st fret and the open fret. So, all of these scales are patterns. Now when we get this whole step, half step, we've got the beginning of a 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, what this means in total is if we could put together this as being a scale, this as being a scale, and then more importantly, each one of these scales are the exact same scale. What up, bro? How you doing here? Fire runner? Hey, Soru, Fire, do you play an instrument? Hi, Ballistic. How's it? I can be a mod. Can I be a mod? How about this? You be the biggest fan of this channel, I'll make you a mod. And also, we're looking for people who do things wrong. Nobody on this channel is really doing anything wrong right now. But yeah, we'll consider it. We have a mod on the channel right now if you're kind of lurking. So long story short, when we're playing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, these are all practice techniques. The secondary practice technique that I want you to see is that we could be able to go through our circle O fifths. Now, if you don't know what the circle fifths is, this is just a way, you play trumpet, awesome. Tell you what, I love the concept of trumpet. I have been playing music for quite a long time, and I was about 20 years into playing music, and somebody told me the way to play a trumpet is to hum the note while you're blowing through. Blew my mind. So now I kind of do that with all my instruments to see if that is the function that makes them work. First time I did it on a trumpet, I actually got a note out of it. It blew my mind. So I think the next step, as you would probably agree, is buy a trumpet and start putting time on it. However, I don't play any brass instruments. I play woodwind. So that would be a complete change. Maybe in 2026 I'll jump over that, which would be super groovy. So today we're going to be talking about extended chords. Maybe you can chime in and talk about that trumpet concept on how you do different single notes. Some instruments like a guitar can have polyphonic or multitonal notes, like triads are the combination of two dyads which make up the chord. But when we're playing like an arpeggio, we're playing the individual 1, 3, 5 of a chord. So adding another note in there to flavor our chords is exactly what we're talking about extended chords today. Can I please be a mod? It'll be my first time being mod. Ballistic, you're a little bit too overeager to be a mod. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're distracting me here. It's okay though. Chill out, have fun with this. We'll see what we can do about a mod at the end of this. I was a half an hour late starting, so right now to beep, 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 boop on the phone, I'm not technologically advanced. I'd have to push a bunch of buttons. I don't know. I like turtles. Yeah, I like turtles too. Great screen name, by the way. Thanks for being here, everybody. If you have any questions about what you're personally working on, throw it in the comment section. Also, what instrument you play. We already see a trumpet. I assume we have some guitar players. Thanks, Ballistic, for being understanding. You bet your balls it's Neil Diamond. That's what I was thinking when I saw your screen name. So, if we're playing with the key of C major, let's just keep it with there. C for C major, D for D minor, the infamous E for E minor, F for F major, G for G major, A for A minor. We're gonna have an open B for our B diminished. And it goes right back to our 1. So for today, for extended chords, what we wanted to understand was out of a grouping of 7 notes, we get rid of the 6 and the 7, gone. And out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we remove the 2 notes that make a chord a sus. Now, a sus is a type of extended note, but when we talk about extended chords, we are quite literally talking about playing a 1, 3, 5 plus a 6, whether it's minor or major, and then a 7, whether it's minor or major. After that, we start adding notes to that. The only notes in music that are past an octave or a P8 that would be the 8th note. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 2. Well, that 2 note is the 9. Cool, Ballistic, guitar player, awesome. Electric or acoustic? I know it doesn't really matter, but I just got into playing electric. Diddly, diddly, diddly. And I've learned most of my music theory and playing on an acoustic, so making the change after 25 years of playing acoustic solely over to an electric so I could front a band and have fun, diddly, diddly, diddling, spooging, if you will. It's a pretty different change, but it opens up a lot of avenues and a lot of fun. Plus, it's great to go on YouTube channels and learn from other players techniques that I haven't picked up because of the electrical aspect of it. So cool. Like Squid Games? No. I saw it maybe a year or 2 ago, a little excerpt from it. Long story short, I'm kind of a, I guess a dork. I think I like things, what's the word? This really calls into like an existential question. I don't like violence. I think about violence all the time and how humans are just absolutely despicable. So in my mind, I don't want to watch somebody getting their face ripped off or falling to their death or being put in a situation which is hypothetical, watching a TV full of, photons with, that tells me, I don't like, so are you sure you don't like Squid Games? Yeah, I guess, and maybe I could watch a whole episode, but it doesn't thrill me the way life thrills me. So I don't spend time on it. When I spend time on the internet watching stuff like you're watching me, I watch Mystery Science Theater. I watch 50s and 60s sci-fi movies and make fun of how racist and sexist and horrible those were and how they programmed a whole generation. I also really enjoy education, so I learn how to do things I didn't know how to do, like math, trigonometry, algebra, solving for both sides of an equation. That actually is fun for me, to go back and learn the things that I opted not to learn when I was younger. Learning an instrument gave me the ability to dissect concepts, bullet point them, and then figure out what the key points are and know how to practice the learning. So no matter what stage you're in at any facet of life, really helps to understand music, I think. But that's just my own personal opinion. So maybe I'll check out Squid Games. I'm not closed-minded to anything. However, we're going to talk about some music. So for C major, and an extended chord on C major that a lot of people learn in the beginning is something I'd like to tell you is called a secondary dominant. So if you're playing an instrument and you're playing an instrument that has multi-tones, that you play chords, or you're playing something that's monotonal that plays one note at a time. Either way, you would want to know the individual notations for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for a major scale, as all music is viewed through the eyes of the major. Now what that essentially means is when we're thinking about the key of C minor or E flat major, we're quite literally going, I know that C flat or a C minor has 3 flats because E flat has 3 flats. When I go to C major, I know it has no sharps and flats, and its relative minor is A minor, and it also has no sharps and flats, and all the notes are named such. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Well, if we take it from the minor 6, the relative minor, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. 6, half, 1 dozen if you're trying to look at it at what they are, but when you get into different types of scales that aren't sectatonic, like these 7 notes, diatonic scales, and you have notes in scales that are 5 notes, like pentatonic scales. Those notes that you choose from, that A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, change to only the 1, flat, 3, 4, 5, flat, 7. When you have 5-note movements like this, we don't learn them in order, like scales, you know, you don't really play them linearly. You play them in context, like extended chords. When we play like an A minor, it is the minor 6 of the key of C major. By placing a pinky on the G, we are giving a very interesting note. Now, in the key of A major, we don't have all naturals. We have what was intended to be the A major, incorporating the C sharp from D major, the F sharp that we got from G major, and then we're going to be having the D sharp, which is our lending tone going into E. So A major would have A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, and then it goes right back into A. So if we view music through the eyes of the major, that lending tone would still be the note right before A. Well, the note right before A is G sharp. If we play an A minor with a G sharp, we get a chord called a minor major. Do-do-do-do. Most Westerners will understand this as being the James Bond chord or a minor major chord. And the truth of the matter is, it really is a fun chord to play when you're trying to cause a little tension. Just like playing an augmented in lieu of a diminished chord is also another really cool thing to do because it changes the point of tonality and how it feels. So when we talk about music theory this way in extended chords, what you need to understand is every single chord has a 1, 3, 5. For that 1, 3, 5, you would learn it basically in keys 1 at a time. If you haven't heard of the circle of fifths, stop what you're doing right now, Google it. I also have a playlist on here which has multiple videos. Some are silent, you don't get me going blah, 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 blah about everything, and you just get to draw it. Once you start drawing it over and over again, your brain will start to memorize it, and while you're playing, you might refer to the circle of fifths in your mind. But as I always try to say to people, you don't really think about these notes when you're trying to play a solo. You just use the practice that you've already done trying to go from one point and do mechanisms that sound good. And some of them are just muscle memory that you do over and over and over and over and over again. The truth is, when you learn a song or two that's challenging, you will find yourself being able to remember those notes over and over and over again, regardless of how many times you played it, because the notes are always the same. And when you speed those things up, they become really cool melody lines. And isn't that what we're all shooting for? To have consistency playing chords and do something cool in between it? And have it sound a little bit better than just like playing rhythm chords. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but what we're shooting for as musicians is to know the 1, 3, 5 and do tone leading. Well, the whole point of tone leading or chord leading is to use extended chords to venture outside of your arpeggios. If you're always playing 1, 3, 5, it sounds a little boring. Da 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 da. But if you were to add in a major seventh, that in the key of C, it would be B. So B, C, E, G, B, C. And you can even follow that all the way up. All these things are just arpeggios where you're adding notes. These are extended chord movements, and one of the coolest things you could do to spice up any progression is to add in the aforementioned major seventh or the one before that, the minor seventh. And just to be clear what that is, let's look at it through the eyes of D major. First finger is going to be going on the G string at the 2nd fret. Secondary finger is going to go up top to the E string, 2nd fret as well, leaving space for the B in between. And then we're going to wrap our 3rd finger, the ring finger, right around from that. Salute! How's it, brother? I hope everything's well in Russia. You know, D major, it is what it is. When we play this chord, we're trying to keep this lower D open, and yes, you can put the A, but by no means do we want the E, because that changes the tonality. If you wrap a finger around, you can get that F sharp, which is up top on your high E, and it just doubles the tone. Groovy. This would be called a first inversion, because it has the 3 of the chord, D, F sharp, A. When playing this, if we take this secondary D note that is located a whole octave above this, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, D. When we play this high D and we move it back a half step, we achieve the major seventh of the chord, hence C sharp. That way, when we play an F sharp, C sharp, A, and the D, a super jazzy chord called a D major 7. Jazz chords, it's represented by the uppercase D, a triangle representing the 3 points of the triad, and then a 7. This lets us know it is a D major 7, utilizing the major 7th of the chord. When we move this down not a half step, but we move down that D a whole step from the octave, we are going to a C natural. Whence playing the F sharp, the C natural, the A, and the D, we get something called a D dominant 7, or shortened to just D7. We got rid of that silly triangle. We just put the letter name and then the number value. P.S. Can I please be a mod? I'll donate. Yeah, I mean, if you want to donate, buddy, you can go to my website, BigIslandTinyFootprint.com. And as I said, give it a minute. We'll see if you could be a mod. I need strong players like you that like to play on the channel and make sure that nobody's saying anything crazy out here. Okay, so let's pick a progression and show how that major 7 would work. If we were playing in the key of C major, which we're trying to today, we have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then C. Now, each one of these you could put a major 7 on, but some of them sound kind of eh. The aforementioned A minor, when you put a G sharp, we don't want every chord to build tension that's a minor. So when we play this E minor, if we just put something really quick on the end of that and said, great, let's put a D sharp on there. Well, if this is the D note and that becomes a D sharp, when we play our E minor, it gives us this kind of augmented feel, and we don't really want that. So the truth is, when we play these major 7s or minor 7 chords, best put them on major chords in the beginning. You will find a reason to change those minor chords, but that really refers more to 2 different motive structures called the melodic minor and the harmonic minor. You get those by altering the natural minor, which is found in the key. The natural minor of C is A minor. So when we play through this structure, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, we have all natural notes. So when we play C major, let's say to an F major, and then to a G major, and then back to a C. A great way to spice this up and not have it just standard triad now that is just 1, 3, 5, C, E, and G, F, A, C, G, B, D. Let's make these all major 7 chords. So for a C major, super easy. All you gotta do is take off that first finger, it opens up the B note. For the F major 7, yeah, we could play like over the top of here, and then the major 7 is gonna wanna do a really cool thing. where the pinky is playing on the F note. We want to drop it back a half step for an F flat, or enharmonically, let's call it an E, because that is the major seventh of F. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. So what we want to do is play the bar. You can put 2 fingers on the D and the G string and then stretch that pinky around to play the C at the 3rd fret. Gorgeous, huh? So an easier way to do that is just omit the A and the E strings, the 6 and the 5. Play like you would play a top half excursion. Generally when you play an F, you'd have the E and the B, right? You then put a secondary finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then your 3rd finger would reside on the 3rd fret of the D string. To get an F major 7, you lift up your finger onto which you're only playing the B string, the G string, and the D string, leaving the E open. Right on. And then our G major 7, instead of just playing G, B, D, we could have this note. Why? When we play that same chord, we were playing this. Well, if we took this and we scooted up, we wouldn't be able to just keep that open. So I'd suggest playing this, F major 7, in a secondary fingering, because the next chord is going to be this, and then we could put a finger down to get that high note. And don't let it be lost on you. When we play this F major right here, and then go to a G major, and we do this chord, you can do both of your F major 7 and your G major 7 this way. Now, these are how to play these triads with the extended note below the 5th fret. There are other ways to play it. All of these chords can be found on this YouTube channel, and I am generally available if you ask questions. Keep it classy, keep it fun on all these videos with the comments, because I do have a lot of students that are abroad and local here in Hilo, Hawaii. So as far as being able to use this with a groove, our progression, we have like, hey Earthling, thank you very much. Welcome to this planet. C major 7, F major 7. Now we're going to the G major 7. Now back to the C major 7. See how it just changed the whole idea? Nothing else matters, please. What is that? Metallica? Nothing else matters. This one? I haven't played this in 30 years. What is it again? Yeah, E minor to C major. Metallica. It's neoclassical heavy metal. I didn't understand that when I was younger, how college educated those boys were. Very cool. I've been put that out in 30 years. Tell you what, I remember almost every note I do, and then I go back and practice that. There's some songs in my life that are ridiculously hard to play. Like, you can kind of tell from my bandana and the trippy backgrounds. I like the hippie psychedelic movement, so long story short, there's going to be a lot of Grateful Dead on my channel. One of the hardest songs I ever learned was the middle song in between Help on the Way. I know only this I got you today. That part in Slipknot that goes... I generally play that once a month. I like to be able to play it over and over and over again so I can get into the mood of knowing where those fingers go. When going over this in a slow fashion, it's just so fun to know that the fingers are in the right place, and when you do finally speed it up to get the right notes, aw. My favorite part after it does that what is it? It does this. And And that part is the hardest part for me. It gets me every single time. Therefore, I kind of fudge it, but the more times you fudge it, your brain remembers how to fudge, so you got to go back and practice it, which is why I practice songs like Steely Dan and a little bit of the harder Grateful Dead tunes, some of the Fish tunes that have different interesting parts. They are, at a certain point, the soloing and the guitars and the riffs and the tone leading, it's just so much fun for the fingers. It's like butter. I absolutely love it. Anywho, play very well. Thank you, Countless. Welcome to be here. I hope that when you're playing, you could watch a couple things that I do, you know, point out what I'm doing wrong. I'll work on it. This whole channel is full of exploration and not taking myself too seriously. I know where I am musically. I know where my students are musically, and I know that I will never... Oh, that's a bad way to say it. I will always have something to learn musically. There's just a huge gamut of things that can be done. Once you get one thing, it opens up ideas for another idea. Hello, Dr. Samuel. How you doing? Play Tyler Childs. I do not know Tyler Childs. Can you name a song? I'll throw it into my repertoire and put it onto the site here. So, if we were to get away from that C major 7, the F major 7, and the G major 7, if you were doing a 2-chord progression and you wanted to solo over the top of a, let's say, major 7 chord, let's break this down into something fun here. Let's switch to an E major 7. By doing this, let's show you what an A major 7 is. Playing an A major, a lot of people when they first start playing play their A's like this with 3 fingers on the fretboard. It's a lot of fingers. Try to do it with 1 finger so you have 3 fingers for awesomeness rather than the 3 on and 1 for awesomeness. Once playing the A, what you really want to do is leave the E, the A, more importantly the A, play the 2nd fret on the D, G, and B, and then whoop that finger up so it doesn't hit that high E. I'm gonna sleep while watching the stream. Aw, thank you, clocking them watch time hours. Almost at 3,000. I think we have 22 or 21 something. Long story short, I don't put a lot of effort into editing videos. I have a lot of shorts, but they're more fun for me than it is to try to get monetized. But I can tell you what, when I am monetized, I'm gonna buy a computer setup that works. Because today I had the worst time trying to figure out how to get it to work. The whole thing pooped the bed. Anyway. Let's play the A major and as a 4. Like what we talked about with the D, we move down the root. Well, in A major, the middle note is the A. So it goes to the G sharp. Hence, when you play A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and you put that G sharp in there, you get an A major 7. So quaint. In fact, you can even put that up top if you want to. See how the A major 7 is nice and light and airy? So, what I teach as a profession here is those spider exercises that we aforementioned in the beginning of this video. And then when we have teeter-totters that do this number, we're literally going to take our 1st finger off, 2nd finger where the 1st was, 3rd finger goes on, and then 4th finger covers where the 3rd was. If you can physically do this back and forth and play your A major 7 with the secondary fingering, you then can move this up anywhere. When you move it up to the 8th and the 9th and plot down a big old B-A-R-R bar chord, whether with the open E or covering it for a B for the inversion, you get an E major 7. Some of you heads out there might notice. Right outside, lazy summer home. Yes, that E major 7 is a gorgeous chord. So let's say we're doing a 2-chord vamp. We're gonna play the E major 7, and then we're gonna go down and play the A major 7. Well, we just learned how to play the F major 7, yuckos, sorry, F major 7, and G major 7. So if we scoot it up another whole tone, we get an A major 7. I like to play open chords as well. If you play just the 6th fret on the D and the G strings, doesn't matter if you play with 2 fingers, middle things, or just 1 finger, holding both down those 2 notes, you get an A major 7 as well. You heard it? Yeah. And then up here, if you bar up 10th fret, put a finger down here on the 12th at the A. That's not right. Go back a half step, sorry. You get an A major 7. After learning every chord, it's hard to actually remember where they are, but you do get to it after a minute. And that was what I was aforementioning. You don't have to know what the names of the chords are. In fact, you don't even have to know that, like, what the extension notes are. The idea is once you get a couple chords underneath your belt, then you can start using those in your scale and practicing. And I guarantee all the things you practice will come out. So again, here's how I practice. I'll show you what it looks like over the top of. That's a little fast. So 2 chords. Cool, so what I've ascertained here, the modus that I'm gonna wanna use probably will go from our E major. Since we've got 3 modes to choose from our major scale, major or Ionian. Ionian raises the 4th scale degree, so you give it a heightened sense of an augmented 4th. The Simpsons. There are other Lydian uses, a lot of movies, a lot of ways to build tone, but I use it as far as like jamming over the top of 2 chord structures like this. So when playing for the E to the A, all the notes that are in the key of A major, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, are in the key of E, besides that 4 scale position. So when you play A, B, C sharp and play a D sharp, you are changing one of the notes to have the same tonal value that E major does. And if you're thinking of it through the eyes of the major 7, E, G sharp, and D sharp are gonna give you that major 7th tone. So being able to move through those notes from the A, B, C sharp, D sharp, the D sharp is the augmented 4th in the key of A. However, it is gonna be your major 7 in the key of E. So focusing on that note when you're grooving really is where the bee's knees is. No matter where you play these, you're gonna have those same notes. I could play all day. What to do the descending walk down example, something in the way she moves, Stairway to Heaven starts from the 6, 5, 4, 4. Oh, cool. When you move down in half-step increments in music, when you're playing through a triad or through a note, it's called an excel, like X, the letter. All it simply means is to go down through a note. So if you're doing something like... something like those lines, you can move one note and keep a harmony. It changes the point at which the ear hears it, but you're still playing 2 notes, which is a harmony, or otherwise called a dyad. When we play extended chords, those extended notes plus one of the notes from this chord will make a dyad from another key. Hence, there is tonal relativity between different chords. Half step down each time. A great example, as you said, is something. So like with that C major, something in the way she moves, C major 7. Now you put a B flat down and put back your C, you get the C dominant 7. Attracts me like no other. When we go to the F, you are moving that down from da na 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 na. So that is exactly what Hummingwood is talking about right now. The idea that you're moving down in a half step, changing finger positions, but your brain is focusing on how to move those notes in order. With Stairway having, you're playing a harmony here using the A when we play their A here, and then the A minor. So you have an A, C, and an E right here performing a C major or the relative major over the top. You're moving down your A to a G sharp, so you're quite literally getting that that major minor chord, but it doesn't sound like it builds a lot of tension because our ear hears the passing. I think Jimmy does it. Harmony here, extended note out for the C up top, and then down to a B minor 7, to a F major 7. Yeah, it is a super eerie progression. I love this one. Kind of rubato. Wow, haven't played that one in a long time either. Although I did teach a student how to play the solo a few months back. Anyway, great example, good question there if there was one in there, although I picked up on it. Yes, I used that a lot in moving. So let's play off a major 7. Try and play an A major, but don't play the whole thing-a-ding-ding here. Just utilize the third of the chord, that C sharp, and put your finger down here for the A. You're playing a 1 and a 3. In fact, if you haven't noticed this already on an instrument, that is the structure that you view from every chord that gives you a 1-3. G, it's right here, B and G. Here, C major, E and C. D major, F sharp, D. A major, C sharp, A. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Oh, you know what? I have a student come up here in a minute. Are there any undying questions before we move on here? Where are you from? Me or somebody in the comment section? Me, personally, I'm from the mainland, Americas, and then I got as westward as I possibly could. If I went any wester, I would be in Japan. So, long story short, I ended up in the Pacific in Hawaii. I live in Hilo, Hawaii, and I teach 3 days a week. I run a labor company where I do odd jobs for people, and I really enjoy my life. I hope you enjoy this channel. Oh, you're from Brazil? Cool. Awesome. I've seen some really good drummers from Brazil. And I've played with a lot of really good singers from Brazil. Anyway, try and play an A major. Get rid of all the nonsense there and just play your 3 and your 1. Move your 1 and keep your 3. So you're playing an A major 7. Move that down again, keep your 3 and play your dominant. You get an A dominant 7 and then move that down one more time. And hear that fun dissonance as you're moving through. A major 7, A dominant, A6. Why is that an A6? Well, that's an F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do hope today that watching, playing, the fingers and the moving, taking a moment to slow it down has demystified a little bit of what the fretboard is, knowing that you could play different modes over the top of scale progressions and start slow. So if you're doing something like the E major 7 to the A major and you want to jam over the top of a backing track, try and play Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, and Do over the top of an E major, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. And then when you do that same thing-a-ding-ding on the A, starting from the same thing, same finger, just raise your 4th. A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. This way, when you're going over the top, all the notes that you play over the top of E major 7 and A major 7 are gonna ring out wonderful. There's that Lydian note. Here's a challenge: 4, 5, 3, 6 progression, but on a 4, play the 4 bass over the 5, and R and B progression. What key? Here's a challenge: 4 or 5. How about the key of A? So the key of A would have the 4 chord is a D, the 5 chord is the E, the 3 chord is a C sharp minor, and then we would have a minor 6. So what you just described, that progression is called a deceptive cadence in the key of A. We'd have, and you wanted it in what? R and B? And then play on the 4, play the 4 in the bass over a 5, R and B progression. Cool. Play the 4 in the bass over the 5. 4 over the 5. Okay, so D, you want to have, so what you're talking about is a slash chord. So we would have, if you put a D and an E, it would be a sus chord. So you would have like, this, or not a sus chord, on any E, it would be the dominant. So you'd have like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in R&B, how about I'm thinking like Blackstreet. Do you know the band Blackstreet? That's a blast from the past. That's some good music too. How about I'll move my structure so I'm not down there. I'll even do like a 9 chord, maybe on the D. That feels very R&B to me. Is that R&B enoughy? End that on a major 7 chord. Hey, Hummingbird, thanks for being here. The 453 is also called the Royal Road progression in Asia, used in anime themes. Awesome. I didn't know that. That's great. I really didn't get into anime a lot. I had a couple of roommates back in the day that watched a lot of it. I don't know. I guess maybe I should take another look at it. I tried to make it through Howl's Floating Castle several times. It's a little bit too movie fast-paced for my eyes. Then again, somebody asked me if I like Squid Games, and I'm not really into violence, so, you know. I like the Eastern mysticism that comes out of a lot of these things too. There's a lot to learn from Airbender and stuff like that. Anywho, thanks for being here today. I hope everybody had a good time. I hope some of the nonsense I talked about and did demystified what the guitar is, at least how to see strings, modes, scales. And then remember, extended chords when you work on them, pick a single chord and try and see what every single note in it sounds like. If we pick C and we had C major and we put a 2 note in there, we would have a C sus. It's called a C2 or a C sus2. When we put the 4 chord, it would be the C sus4 because it feels like a heightened sense of awareness. What we're doing is we're adding that 4 note in the key of C, C, D, E, F. When we add the F over the top of the C, it feels like it's suspended above our head, and when we release it, we are releasing that 4th tone to give you the major 3rd. When we go up and play just a C, and we play a G, and then we play just a G, and we play just a C, it's called a 5 chord. Why? There is no median. It doesn't have a minor or a major 3rd, therefore the tones you're getting out of these 2 notes is just a prime. It's gonna be called our P5. When we have something that goes past that, our C6 would add the F sharp. If we had a flat 6, if we had a C, E, and a flat 6, that essentially is going to be something called an augmented chord, because the flat 6 or the minor 6 is also the sharp 5. Whenever we augment something or diminish something, we are talking about half-step movements. You dig? So, at the end result is if you can go through your whole structure and think of C, C with the D, C with the E flat, C with the E, you start defining chords. C major, C sus, C minor, C major, C sus, C, what is that? That could be part of a diminished, C diminished, C5, augmented 5th. That would be our C6. Then we'd have our minor 7, which is a dominant C7, and then we'd have a C major 7. If you could get through that process with every chord, the sky's the limit for you. And then really doing one of 2 things. Making a regiment to go through your circle of 5ths on an instrument. C major, G major, D major, A major, E, B, F sharp, C sharp. It's boring, but you do. Let's say we do Lydian, like we did today. What is Lydian? It has a sharpened 4. Don't have to go fast. You just want to make sure that you hit that augmented 4th. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4. Cool? This is how you practice. So when you're doing something like Hummingwood talked about, that descending put it in between. If you can't get those notes to come out, slow down. Hey, I hope everybody had fun today. I really enjoy doing these live sessions. If you want to, join me on Mondays, where every different Monday, we choose something new. Sometimes you just see me noodling, playing, asking questions, watching stuff, doing reviews. But on Tuesday like this, we pick a subject and then we talk about theory. Oh, cool, Hummingwood, thank you. I'm glad that you think theory is fun. I think theory is fun too. It challenges the brain. It itches that little part inside of me that says, oh, and then it goes from there. As far as this channel goes, there are lots and lots of videos. Pick one or two or a playlist. And then if you would, stuff like this, if you timestamp it, awesome. Hey, who's the gentleman that kept wanting to be a mod? You still there? Ballistic? The best way to become a modifier on this channel is to go to any playlist and then timestamp it. Once I see a little effort put into here and nothing's kind of crazy, like you're not putting I love Satan and let's eat dogs, stuff like that, as long as that's not part of your normal criterion, then yeah, I'll trust you to make you a mod. Other than that, everyone have a great day. If you have requests on songs you've been working on or you're just kind of stumped, you don't know where to go next, check out my channel. Or any of the nonsense I talked about here today, you can Google. A couple of the channels that I go to are Rick Beato, Music Matters, with Graham. There is something called, I think it's called, what is it called? Studio Sessions with a piano player and an upright bassist. They are wonderful. Other than that, just don't get too overwhelmed. Make sure you ask questions. And if you are out there playing and you do not have a teacher, go support a teacher in your local area. Tell you what, it made the difference for me where I live to having people interested in music theory. Now there's a small community that works on this stuff. Every first Saturday in Hilo, we provide free workshops and family ukulele night. And then I am always available if you need to ask a question. You can get a hold of me at WAGO at BigIslandTinyFootprint.com. Thanks for being here today. Everybody have an awesome day. And please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everyone have a great musical day. And enjoy the day. Mahalo nui loa. Aloha.